Tesla's trying a little bit of a different demand lever recently, which is offering low-interest APR financing, specifically for the Model Y, and this is only for the remainder of the month of May, although I have a feeling, depending on how well this does, they might extend it a little bit longer. But if you've listened to any recent Tesla earnings call, you know Elon's been blaming the interest rate a lot as to why EV demand is slowing down so much. It's simply because the monthly payment on their vehicles is too high. If you're looking at it just as the cash price, you'll know that the Teslas today are much, much cheaper than they were, sadly, when I bought my car. I'm a sucker, I guess. But Elon said it doesn't matter if the cash price is lower because the vast majority of their customers are financing their vehicles. And I hate to see it, but yeah, unfortunately, every time I've done polls on this, it appears that the vast majority of people are financing their vehicles. A lot of people like to tell me it's because, well, you shouldn't put that much cash down on the vehicle. If the interest rate is low, then you're better off using any excess cash to put that in a high interest savings account, which I agree with, but I just don't believe that's what most people are doing. If you are doing that, okay, it's understandable and fair. But I think the main reason most people are financing their vehicles is not because they have extra cash to put in a savings account. It's because they don't have the money and they want the car sooner. That's fine. It's your life. It's your money. I typically don't recommend financing depreciating assets, but y'all can do whatever you want to do. At the end of the day, Teslas are fun to own. I understand why you'd be impatient to wait around for the cash on hand to buy one outright, but Tesla must be taking a little bit of a hit on this because they don't have the cash on hand to act as a big bank, a big lender, which is why I'm guessing this is a limited time option. Otherwise, they would be offering it for all their vehicles indefinitely, but because they're expecting a lot of their partners and banks to be carrying a lot of the debt, they're just accepting now that the banks are not going to cut it with interest rates still being this high. And I should admit that if it is true that the vast majority of their buyers are financing, then trying to ensure a lower monthly payment for their customers, I got to admit, is a pretty logical decision, and I'm very curious to see how this is going to affect the take rate of Tesla's vehicles. I also think another great suggestion that has been made by countless other content creators out there, Tesla should please let you buy out the lease at the end, because Tesla is still on their website boasting about their low lease payments on their vehicles as well. The Model 3 lease payment starts at a little over $200 a month. That's factoring in some obviously very generous gas savings, and it's not factoring in the increase in registration and insurance that you'd probably have to pay for an EV compared to a gas car. But still, if people could take advantage of the federal tax credit with their lease and know that by the end of the lease they'd have a way to buy it out, I think a lot more people would take that option. But because they don't, I think Tesla's leaving a lot of potential free money on the table. Everybody else in the industry basically lets you buy out the lease by the end. It would get more vehicles out the door quicker and allow people to kind of take advantage of the $7,500 tax credit on vehicles with imported battery packs like the LFP Model 3, which is an amazing value, a great product. You can charge it to 100% every day. I'm still loving the LFP in my Model 3, and of course the refresh Model 3 is just better in every way. So I'm really hoping they consider that. In the past, Tesla has said they don't want to let people buy out the lease because they want those cars back at the end of their lease to do FSD, but they were saying that in 2019 and all their leases were 3 years. So 2022, Tesla just ends up reselling those leases anyway. But now we're at a point where we have a lot more supply than we do demand, so I think it's worth reconsidering. But with the monthly payment on a lot of Model Ys dipping down by several $100s a month, I'm curious if you guys have suddenly gotten a lot more interested. I've been seeing others online say that now with this lower interest payment, they're more interested in actually picking up a Tesla, which is great, and I hope you guys enjoy it. But I would also consider, rather than financing, checking out the used options, because on one hand, the Model Y refresh is probably dropping next year, and that's going to be much, much better than the Model Ys they're selling today. But if you're comfortable buying today's Model Ys, you'd probably not mind buying a 2021 or a 2022 Model Y, which you can find used now with a few thousand miles on them for much, much cheaper than buying new. Then you don't have any interest payments to worry about, and a lot of those used inventory vehicles even have full self-driving equipped. And I've actually known a couple people in my personal life that have picked up used Teslas recently for really smoking good deals. If you're comfortable buying an older Model 3 because you love having gear stocks, some of those have dipped below the $25,000 mark, and then they qualify for a $4,000 used EV tax credit. So there's all kinds of savings in the used market I'd recommend people check out, as well as these new financing options. And I'm glad to see Tesla, and I believe Elon is probably spearheading this concept of the lower interest payment payments, because that does seem to be the most common payment structure for a lot of EVs these days. What do you guys think? Is this going to increase EV demand a lot, or do you think that it's mainly people having issues with range and charge time? Feel free to speculate along with me down in the comments below, and thank you to everybody supporting this channel directly. Seriously, helps us out a ton, as does just watching these videos, so thanks again. Have an excellent rest of your day.